Hello, everybody. Well, earlier today, Joran VanDersloot has been sentenced to 28 years in the Peruvian prison. They said that the Peruvian jail is different. The prison system is different than it is here in the United States because it's more of a rehabilitation center where you can rehabilitate yourself, go to school. Of course, you can do all that stuff in the American prison system, but in the Peruvian prison system, they said if you do a day's work or some kind of chore, that knocks 1 to 2 days off of your sentence. And so if you do a lot of work, then you're going to get quite a bit of time knocked off. But his projected release date is June 10th of 2038 or 2038, depending on what you call it. Now, given the fact that he did get 28 years, he's already served 2, so that means 26 years. They said that he could, after he serves half of that time, which would be 14 years, that he could ask for probation. Now, and, if he's already done some work to get some time knocked off, they're talking about he might not serve it in the single-digit numbers. Well, the devil usually always gets his way, so Joran will probably be out before then. But if there was terms on his sentence, they had said that upon his completion of his sentencing, that he would have to leave the country, which would almost tell you he cannot be put on probation or paroled after half his time is up, because you got to serve your probation out in even the same state where you was. And if one of the conditions is he's got to leave the country, they can't give him probation. They can't parole him. Another thing, even before his sentencing was handed down, the Peruvian people, the Peruvian court system had said that on his release, that they would extradite him to the United States, where he could serve, where he would be tried for extortion in Alabama. He tried to extort $250,000 from Beth Twitty, Natalee Holloway's mother. And so, not sure what's going to happen with that one. But I'll bet you that if he does get over here and is tried in Alabama, that he would probably serve a lot longer than he's going to serve in Peru for murder. Yesterday, the judge signed the papers to have Natalee Holloway declared legally dead. Beth Twitty didn't want to have it done. Of course, that's her daughter. She's not going to want to have it done. You never want to give up hope. And look at J.C. Dugard, who came home after 18 years. We can't prove that Natalee's dead. Can't prove that she's not, but we can't prove that she is. But Natalee's dad wanted to have her declared legally dead. The reason being, some people would say it's greed, but no, I understand why he did it, because Natalee had a college fund. Natalee was going to start college that fall, and she, of course, is going to be a doctor. So, she had a lot of money in her college fund. So that money was just sitting there. Now, they have other children, particularly a son, and I'm assuming his son is starting to college. And so why leave that money just sitting there when Natalee, more than likely, first of all, is probably dead. If she's not dead and she does come home, she's going to do TV interviews and everything anyway and make shows, so she's not going to need that money in that college fund. So they're going to use the college fund for the son to put him through school, because, they probably depleted a lot of their funds, going to Aruba and trying to find Natalee and everything. So I understand why the dad did what he did. It doesn't make it any easier, and it doesn't change anything. It's just written on paper. So, and it's for the benefit of the other children in the household. So, I can understand why that happened. Also, Joran VanDersloot has gained weight while he's been in the Peruvian jail. He has really packed on some pounds. Joe noticed it, and as soon as Joe had said something about it, they was talking about it on the news, and they said that he looks as though he had put on at least 50 pounds. Because, you know, he's a tall guy anyway. And they was talking about just his body-wise. They said he looks like he has put on at least 50 pounds since he's been in there, which is odd because in the Peruvian jail, you're not fed 3 meals a day and get to go to canteen or whatever they call it, like in the other prison systems. You don't do that. You have to pay for your own meals in the Peruvian jail. And if you don't have money to pay for a meal, you don't eat. So he's getting money from somewhere, and it has been said that that there was a woman, like I think I said this in the last video, that was in my age group that was sending him money. And of course he had that girl that was bringing him candy, and he was selling candy in the jail system to get money to eat with. And you know, he's probably eating the candy too. So, but the one thing that I really didn't like about his sentencing today, well, of course, it seemed to drag on forever. They read all the documentations. It took almost 2 hours for him to read the paperwork before they gave the sentencing. In which time he first initially was standing there with his translator and attorney, and after about 40 minutes he asked if he could sit down, and they said yes. Well, see, in those courtrooms they don't have air conditioning. There's no AC. The judges had fans on them, and they said it must have been at least 100 degrees in that courtroom. His shirt was getting wet. He was sweating, and you see people in the background with their fans. And he asked them, could he sit down? And they said yes. No, I wouldn't have let him sit down. No. He asked to sit down. Well, I'm sure Stephanie asked him to stop, and he didn't stop what he was doing to her. So I would have made, had I been that judge, I would have made Joran VanDersloot stand there for the entire time of his sentencing. Stand there and sweat in that hot courtroom. And just the demeanor, just the look in his eyes, you could see the devil in him. You could truly see Satan in his eyes. You could see it. And he'll probably never tell the truth about what happened to Natalee Holloway. You know, we'll probably never know that. So, he might have sold her. Like I said, we can't prove that she's dead. Can't prove that she's not. So, and you can't trust anything that he says. So anyway, I guess it's just a good thing that now there's some oh, what am I trying to say? I don't want to say closure, because there's never closure in anything that brutal. But now maybe Stephanie's parents, her family, can have a little bit of peace and kind of know that he's locked up and that they can just move forward. Anyway, I guess that's all I've got to chit-chat about now. And until next time, bye-bye. Oops, hang on a minute. Got my camera stuck. Okay, now, goodbye.